Hi guys, it's Mike here from KS Bushcraft Down Under. Today I thought I'd do you a review of the Victorinox Ranger Grip 55. So when Wenger and Victorinox merged, a lot of the models were changed and what have you. So this boy here, it's a big boy. So it's 130mm. So compared to the 111mm liner locks that Victorinox do, it's significantly bigger. It really is. So this is my regular carry outdoors. It's a soldier knife. It does have a one-handed blade with serration, so it's a bit of a pain to look after. I much prefer a plain blade. Anyway, so we'll get into this guy here. So I think this, or they Victorinox call it a height of 22mm, so it's not that thick for a 3-layer knife. Length of 130mm, that you certainly feel the length of this in your pocket. They're saying a weight of 166 grams. So on my vernier, maybe not the world's best, I've got 22.4, 130.4, and 69 grams on my scales. So my scales are usually pretty spot on. So it's a liner lock. Now, unlike the 111 liner lock, which feels like it's working the opposite way than you would expect it to. So it's one-handed open in this case with this blade, but two hands to close because you're pushing it across. So it's certainly not a one-handed operation. So this is the plain blade. Now this was only $30 odd. The one-handed version was only available with a serrated or partially serrated blade, which I didn't want. So I've got the plain blade. So there's the blade there. So it's not sharpened all the way down. The choil's quite pronounced. So when you compare it side by side to a plain Victorinox blade, the difference in the cutting edge is not much. It isn't. Considering it's a knife that's nearly 20mm bigger. So I do like this jimping on the blade. This is brilliant for close-up work, which the Victorinox ones don't have in either blade. So there's your liner lock. It only operates on one end, unlike the Victorinox one, which does double duty on the cap lifter screwdriver. This one only works on this end. So being this is the release button, if you had a one-handed blade you could open and close it one-handed, but at least you keep your fingers out of the action line on closing it, which is a real bonus, or you could put it against your pants. So looking at the blades, there's the different blades here, and so you're not getting that much more cutting surface considering it's a much bigger knife. But it should work really well. I'd describe it as a saber grind, so secondary level. I think it's about 22.5 the sharpening angle. So that's there. Now the corkscrew is significantly different. I thought it'd be exactly the same. So it's got 5 turns. It's also a slightly larger diameter. The micro screwdriver will fit, but it's loose. So longer, because you never know when you're out in the forest when there's a bottle of wine will leap out at you. So longer, bigger, probably much more effective on wine bottles. Now what I was impressed with is the ream. So the ream has retained the sewing eye, which used to be available on the 111s in the side lock area, but disappeared later on. I'm sure there's a reason for that, and I'm sure it must be cost. So side by side, same length, same offset. So that's a bonus. Wood saws, I assume they're going to be about the same. They're nothing like each other. So this wood saw is much bigger, and it's also thinner, which I didn't even think that would be a thing. So on my vernier, the Ranger one is 1.2 mil, and the 111 is 1.4. You can actually see the difference there, and obviously side profile. Now the older side locks had a different wood saw again. So there's all three of them side by side. I never actually noticed that before. So there's no lock on the wood saw. It's got a pretty hefty spring, so I've never had one close up on me in either of these. So the cap lifter has no 90 stop. So even though this one has a lock on it, it does have a stop at 90. And it's smaller. It's got the wire bending notch here. Not as wide of a screwdriver tip. Similar to the older so somewhere in between the three of them. There they are there. So bigger than the side lock, not as big as the liner lock. Right guys, the can opener. When I was editing, I realised I didn't mention it. So on the same layer as the cap lifter. So normally on a Swiss Army knife, it's on the top section here. Now these are handed, so if you're left-handed you'll struggle with this. So in this case it's on the bottom, so it becomes in the right orientation to work. So these ones cut on a forward stroke, and I think they're actually the best can opener on a pocket knife that's out there. So not locking, doesn't need to be locking because of the way it works. Toothpick and tweezers are on one scale, which is interesting because normally they're handed, yeah, unless you've got the M grips, of course. As you can see, this to me is just too big for my pocket. This is pushing it, yeah, and this is over that. So I think this is a sheath knife, unless you've got the world's most daggy combat trousers on. So yeah. So guys, I haven't used this yet. It's just come out of the box, but I think we've touched on most of the important stuff. It'll be interesting to see how the wood saws compare, because the thin curved blade usually cuts better than a thick one, and this profile in it appears to be the same teeth. I can't see any difference in the teeth. Will come out the same machine. Now I couldn't find out online the pin sizes, but looking down into it, it would appear to be the same as the 111. But if anyone knows, let me know, because I haven't had one of these apart. So these are 3mm on the pivots and 2.5s on the back springs. So the same as the 93mm Aloxes. The original ones were 2.5 and 2.2s on the side locks. So some of the bigger versions, the only one of these I've ever managed to destroy, I think a Hercules. It was about 4 layers, maybe 5 layers, and that one failed on me. So when they upgraded the pin sizes, I've never had that issue, so I don't know what pin sizes are in there. So guys, just a bit of a beast. If you've got man paws like me, this is perfect. It really is, if you've got big hands, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable fit. That's a brilliant fit. It really is. Anyway guys, if this type of content helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.